Virtual reality will form part of this year's Singapore International Photography Festival. The event unfolds in a series of special exhibitions at 9 sites. Emerald Hill is one of the sites where a special VR experience awaits. French artist Elise Moron uses technology to enhance what the photo lens has captured. In her show titled Spring Odyssey, she wants visitors to step into a forest devastated by the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And over at Peace Centre, the festival aims to tell the history of the building, art installations of favourite haunts of the past and decades-old shops. And for more, we have with us festival organiser Gwen Lee and curator John Tung. Welcome.
Gwen, let's start with you first. You know, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
Why add to that by bringing in VR? What does it bring to the storytelling?
Well, I guess that when we look into the history of photography, it's a very dynamic medium. It has constantly been evolving and being such a young medium of less than 200 years old. We have seen this whole trajectories from film to digital, and now, of course, all this thing about virtual reality. But I think one thing to know about photography or even imaging is really about uncovering what is invisible and how technology make the invisible visible, and also telling and connecting us to the world around us. And when we think about VR, I will see that this is an expansion or imaging, whereby this expansion or imaging permit and enable people to actually experience the world in a more intimate and more immersive way.
And VR helps do that better?
Well, I can't say absolutely it could be better, but it does offer that possibility, this amazing possibility that trigger endless imagination and a way that we could actually cross into a new dimension to envision what perhaps our eyes cannot see.
Interesting. John, maybe bring you into the conversation. Actually, John, we'll hold on to that because Gwen, I had a follow-up question for you. It's a massive exhibition. I mean,
yes.
You've got lots of exhibits, you've got workshops, you know, and we could go on.
I'm glad that you noticed that.
How does one, what's the plan of attack, you know, for somebody who really wants to get the most out of this exhibition? What would you highlight to them?
I will highlight that, you know, get the ultimate festival pass, enter to every possible place, both in Emerald Hill as well as Peace Centre, but most importantly, come with the mindset to be entertained, but also to discover new things and to also find out stories that perhaps you will not even find online.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to bring you in now, John. Now, your experience as a curator, right, trying to put all the installations together at Peace Centre, what was the experience like? We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I think, you know, immersiveness was also something that was on the top of my mind, as well as the various artists that I worked with to realise the shows that were at Peace Centre. And I worked very closely with artists such as Shui Woon, who is presenting Dark Cities at Peace Centre itself. And Shui's project, you know, was back in 2014, where he documented the car parks in Peace Centre, and most of the time we do not regard a car park as being a place that's very interesting at all. It's merely this transitory space when you're trying to get to somewhere else. Yet Shui has a really unique way of envisioning the world. You know, he's a trained architect. He works full-time in architecture and is interested in how people negotiate and utilize these spaces. And so part of the installation process, Shui wanted to intervene architecturally into one of the shop units as well, and essentially erected a diagonal wall essentially bisecting that unit. And one half of that room is empty. It's like an empty car park lot. And then his images populate the entire site. On the other hand, you know, works by Peace Agency, which comprises of Singapore-based artists Geraldine Kang, Cynthia Delaney, Suito, and Wong Sok Ting. They were really looking very, very closely at all of the shop units that were inside Peace Centre itself. Part of their project was this systematic documentation of all of these waiting rooms that are in the various shops and amenities and services in Peace Centre. They documented it, compiled it into a tabloid, and it's an entirely experiential.
What about sourcing
artwork.
for pictures and photos from the past? Well, I mean, I imagine it must be quite challenging trying to, get a hand on those kinds of
So
photos.
that's a really big part of the Peace Centre Memories project, which was initiated by Gwen, actually. And, so much of our memories are really tied to place. And Peace Centre, over its 50 years of operations, has had so many changing uses. There used to be a bowling alley in there. It was the offices of notable local businesses. And right now, it still has something left to offer people, in being transformed into this creative centre because of it being activated by SIPF. So what the Memory Project essentially is doing is to crowdsource all of these images which are representative of memories that people have of those places. Many good memories as well. Because even when I was a student, Peace Centre was sometimes the only place you could get a last-minute print out. So that stays with us for a really long time.
Yeah, I relate. Now, just want to talk a bit, bring it back to photography a bit more, because it's changed somewhat since the advent of especially smartphones, right? Right now, I'm wondering, anyone can capture a photo with little, even no training. How has that, played into what photography is today?
I think that's a lovely thing that, everybody has access to be able to take their own photographs. The fact that every smartphone, has the capacity for photo making means that we are exposed to more ways of picturing and seeing the world. Everybody is now empowered to share with others their unique way of seeing, their unique way of exploring. And with the advent of different types of social media applications for image sharing, I think there's a growing level of visual literacy in the world at the same time, because we very, very quickly are able to understand, what makes a good photograph, what makes a bad photograph. So in all, this advancements of technology is really a democratization of individuals' ability to make pictures and share memories as well at the same time.
Is that something you're finding too as well, Gwen? I mean, anybody can be a photographer, but they may not have the vocabulary or, but does your exhibition speak to them as well?
Well, I definitely do think so, because, for example, in one of the exhibition, Hawaii Nights, Bing Chia, the photographer, the entire series of work was actually captured with a smartphone camera. And that does not deter him from being creative with the device, given that he uses a smartphone. Behind every lens or behind every tools is really the creative mind, the ideas that really pushes the boundary of creation and arts making.
Yeah, we certainly look forward to checking out this exhibition at our own time when we're not in the studio working.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
Thank you both of you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with Gwen Lee and John Tung on the Singapore International Photography Exhibition. Now, that exhibition will be on until the end of October.